LinkedIn analytics can be overwhelming. Which data is important? What can we ignore?
And how do we use all this to grow our business?
So we're going to look at organic analytics for our LinkedIn company page and personal profile. And LinkedIn has had company page analytics for a long time, but personal profile analytics are pretty new. And I'm like super excited about them. I mean, the LinkedIn algorithm prefers posts that come from our personal profiles. So wouldn't it make sense to give us the analytics to help us do a better job on posts that come from our personal profiles? So we're first going to look at personal profile analytics, and then we're going to look at company page analytics. And how many times do you think I'm going to say the word analytics in this video? So take a guess. I'm going to put a tracker up here and let me know in the comments how close you got to your guess. Because let's make analytics fun. Okay, so first to get to the brand new analytics for our personal profile, when we're on the LinkedIn homepage, on the left, you'll see it says impressions of your posts. This actually takes us to all our personal profile analytics, not just information on impressions on our posts. It's kind of confusing, and you think that LinkedIn would put here the word maybe analytics. Anyway, when we open this, you'll see it starts off by showing us post impressions from the last 7 days. Now, 7 days tells us nothing. We should never, ever make massive social media decisions based on a 7-day window, ever. And I mention this because I see people doing it and it drives me nuts. For instance, it says right here that my impressions went up 48% in the last 7 days. I mean, yay me for the overall week, but that doesn't tell me anything about the overall trend. It's statistics 101. We need a larger sample size. So we need to make it a habit to view our analytics over a much larger time range so that way we can see a whole lot more posts. Like if we change this to a 90-day window, you'll see now that my impressions are down 16%. And negative 16% gives me a different picture than plus 48%. I mean, I wish it were plus 48%, but 90 days is still not enough. Oh no. So let's look at the last 365 days and see what's going on. Now we have something to work with. You'll see right here, 4 months ago and 6 months ago, I posted a couple things that got a ton of impressions. And if we scroll down here, we'll see a list of the posts with the most impressions. And here are the 2 posts that are totally skewing my results. So these 2 posts, which were not in the current 90-day period, but in the 90-day period before that, are making the current 90-day period look like a sad downward trend. This is a perfect example of why we need to step back and look at things from a wider perspective. Now, if we want to play with the time window some more, like for example, compare the current 6 months to the previous 6 months, and by the way, I love working with 6-month time windows. Or if we just want to geek out with the data in other ways, like for example, remove the outlier posts so we can get a better sense of what's going on, blah, 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 then we need to click on the export button up here. And now we get a handy Excel spreadsheet, and it's showing the full year because we exported this when the analytics page was showing the full year. Whenever you press the export button, make sure it's showing the time range on the page that you want. Anyway, you'll see we can more deeply evaluate a whole bunch of things like impressions and engagements and top posts, number of new followers, and demographics. And we're going to come back to these other metrics really soon, but first let's go back to the LinkedIn analytics page. Now, before we go to the engagements tab here, write down your total number of impressions, and trust me, you'll see why. So here I'll note 57,748 impressions. Okay, now look at the engagements tab, and you have to be careful. This shows the number of engagements, which is 2,059, and that includes reactions, comments, and reposts. But the number of engagements is meaningless. What we really need to know is our engagement rate, which is the number of engagements we're getting relative to the number of impressions. The engagement rate is really what tells us how engaging our content is and if we're hitting our audience's buttons. So I'll take the 2,059 engagements and divide that by 57,748 impressions, multiply by 100, and we have a 3.57% engagement rate. And right now, the average engagement rate on LinkedIn is 3.16%, so I am above average. There's always room for improvement, but I'm glad to see that I'm above average. Now, if you want to get extra credit, and this will really help you figure out the direction of your content, go back to the spreadsheet and go to the top post tab. You could create a new column F here that automatically calculates your engagement rate based on columns B and E. And this is going to help you get more granular in terms of the types of posts that your audience is excited to see. Like for instance, you could evaluate different types of post formats, images versus videos versus polls, you name it, to see which ones get the best engagement rates. But I think it's even more helpful to evaluate which topics you cover that they get the best engagement rates. For example, if you're a realtor, you could evaluate whether your posts about home buying or your posts about home selling get the most engagement. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that we should only create the types of posts that our data show get the most engagement, because then our social media starts looking ridiculous. Let's say for my own company's social media, video is the most engaging format and Instagram is the most engaging topic. Does that mean that every post I do should be a video about Instagram? No. Because then all of my content would be about videos about Instagram. And then believe it or not, all that engaging content would look the same and then it would look boring. Ironic, isn't it? So what we do want to do with this engagement rate information is get an idea of the types of content we should lean into a little bit more. But we should still have a healthy mix of different formats and different topics to keep things interesting for our audience. Okay, so now let's look at the other metrics. And at the top here, click on audience, and you'll see it defaults again to a 7-day view. So let's change that to the last year. And we're looking here at the number of new followers, but the number of new followers doesn't tell us much. What we need to know is, are we growing at a faster rate now than we did before? And this is another case where I'd go back to the Excel spreadsheet and compare the number of new followers in the current 6-month period to the previous 6-month period, because I think 6-month periods are great. And when I do that, I see that in the previous 6 months, I gained 206 new followers, and in the current 6 months, I gained 246 new followers. So I'm growing about 19% faster now than before, and that's cool. So now let's scroll down here so we can learn more about our audience. Now, what you'll see here, you have to take with a grain of salt. Top demographics, which tells us the demographics among our first degree connections and our non-connection followers. Now, for most of us on LinkedIn, mostly all of our followers are also our first degree connections. So the number is practically the same. And there are exceptions to this, like if your profile has been in creator mode for some time, blah, blah, blah. I'll include a link to my video about creator mode in the description. But anyway, my point is, this top demographics section, the only thing it does is confirm the types of people we are reaching out to connect with and the types of people we accept connection requests from. It does not tell us the top demographics of the people who engage most with our content. And honestly, that's what I would love to see. Now, there is one way the top demographics can help us, and that is it can show us if our LinkedIn audience matches our target audience, because obviously we want them to match. Now, everyone listed here I'm happy with as my top 5 because my target audience are owners and other key decision makers of small businesses. Real estate agents, that's pretty interesting. That's quite specific for the number 5 spot, but real estate agents are business owners too, so it all fits. But let's say the audiences didn't match. There are 3 things we can do. First, we can connect proactively with our target audience. Second, we can revamp our profile so it speaks more to our target audience and has the right keywords, so we're more likely to get found in searches by our target audience. And third, we can adjust our content for our target audience so we wow them. And at the end of this video, I have a link to one of my favorite videos where I roast a few bad LinkedIn posts and show how to fix them so we can make the content amazing. So stick to the end. Okay, so the same demographic concepts will apply here to locations, industries, seniority, company size, and companies. Okay, now let's go to company page analytics. Okay, so first let's get to the company page. Type in my company name here, Delaware ShoutOut, click on it, and here we go. Now, if you have admin privileges to your company page, you'll see a whole bunch of tools like these, and one of them is analytics. So we're gonna click on that. Now you'll see different subcategories, and LinkedIn breaks your audience analytics down into visitors versus followers. Between these two, followers are more important because you wanna evaluate the types of people that are so drawn to your business that they follow your page, not just visit it. And once you open followers, be sure to change this to a larger time range. I'm choosing the last 365 days, but an extra feature you'll see here that you won't see on the personal profile analytics is that you can do a custom range as well. Another thing that's different is that when we hit export up here while we're on the follower analytics subpage, we only get the spreadsheet for the follower analytics rather than the spreadsheet for all the analytics, which is what happened when we clicked on export in the personal profile section. So when you're on your company page, only click on the export button when you're on the page that you want to get data for. Okay, so this area shows how many new followers we have, and just like before, I recommend exporting the spreadsheet so we can compare new follower growth from one period to another. And when it comes to follower demographics, it's just like I mentioned before in the personal profile analytics, you want to make sure your current audience and your target audience match. And if you scroll further down, you'll see who your actual page followers are and when they joined. And one thing you can do with this information, if it's appropriate, is try to connect with these people if you aren't already and start a conversation. Or if you're already connected with them, reach out to them and thank them for following your page. These people just followed you. They are low low-hanging fruit when it comes to starting a conversation. Let's use this opportunity to build relationships so we can grow our business. Now, if you click on leads here, that's if you have a lead gen form on your company page. This hasn't been a priority of mine. I don't have a lead gen form yet, but if I do create one, don't put it past me to make a video about it, because that's what I do. Now, for content analytics, we definitely have more data here than on the personal profile side. First, we're going to change the date range, of course. Now let's look here at our choices, and specifically impressions versus unique impressions. Now, impressions are how many times your posts are seen, and sometimes a post can be seen more than once if it scrolls up and down the newsfeed. In other words, it crosses someone's eyeballs more than once. Now, as for unique impressions, that's what I believe every other social media site out there calls reach, i.e. the number of people who see your posts. But I'm not 100% sure of this because the way LinkedIn describes it in their help center, I don't find very helpful. It's super confusing, and let's just not split hairs. We have too many other good things going on with our analytics. Also note that clicks doesn't just mean clicking on a link that you might have in your post. It also includes when people click on your company name or your logo on your post. Reactions, comments, and shares are obvious. And what's super cool is that LinkedIn provides engagement rate here. So we don't have to calculate it ourselves like we did for our personal profile. And the engagement rate is based off of impressions, not unique impressions, just FYI. And we scroll down here, we can see all our content starting with the most recent. It only shows the last couple weeks unless we change the time frame here. And you know how much I love changing time frames. Okay, so let's go up here and export if you want to do a deeper dive, like compare different time periods, exclude outliers, and more. Now let's go to our final tab in our company page analytics, and that is competitors. We can follow up to 9 of our competitors and see how our company page compares to theirs with follower growth, number of posts, and engagements. Now, as for follower growth, believe it or not, I wouldn't worry about that. Remember that we can all invite up to 100 of our connections each month to follow our company page. And actually, for some of us, we can invite up to 250. So how large your competitors' pages are is partially due to how aggressively your competitors are reaching out to their connections to follow their company page. It doesn't necessarily mean that their pages are any good or they even have the right types of followers. But what I find even more interesting is down here where you see the number of engagements and posts. If you see your competitors are getting a lot of engagement compared to the number of posts they're putting out there, like this one competitor is, then it's worthwhile checking out their newsfeed just to see what they're doing. Not to copy what they're doing, because we all need to have our unique flavor and stand out in our own way, but we might get some new ideas on what's working. And I'll tell you what's not working. It's these bad LinkedIn posts that I roast in this video up here in the top right corner. So watch this video if you want to learn what not to do and how to fix it all so you can get more likes, comments, and shares. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.